Beacon. Interior bathroom, Aria's shelter, day. Aria, early 30s, female, half Asian, left-handed, sprightly and combative, awakens in the bathtub, soaking wet in a long, thick white dress. She's freezing, nearly hypothermic. Her lips are blue, teeth chattering. She has no idea where she is or how she got there. She tries not to move, listening for anything, but all she can hear is the wind and the rain howling outside. She grips the edge of the tub and pulls herself up, peering over the lip and studying the old wooden shelter. The bathroom is large but modestly furnished with a small sitting bench, a cupboard, a toilet, and a wash basin. The wind rattles the shelter as she pulls herself out. She can barely stand but forces herself to her feet. Shivering, she peers into interior, living area, Aria's shelter, continuous. The living area. There's a small kitchen, a table, central wood-burning furnace with a chimney and some firewood beside the door, but like the bathroom, not much else. The front door is on the far side of the room, but she doesn't have the strength to try for an escape. She sticks her head out even farther and sees along the same wall. She slips out of the bathroom and slides along the wall, poking her head into interior, bedroom, Aria's shelter, continuous. The bedroom. There's a made-up bed with a throw blanket folded at its foot, a heavy oak desk, a back door, wardrobe closet, and not much else. She tries the wardrobe and finds more pairs of nearly identical dresses. She disrobes, dropping her soaking wet dress to the floor and throwing on a dry one. She wraps herself in the throw blanket and slips under the bed sheets. Her entire body is shivering. One shot. The front door opens, seizing every muscle in her body as heavy, wet footsteps plod across the wooden floor. The wind howls and whistles as it sweeps through the shelter. Something thwops into the kitchen sink. Is it meat? Flesh? She hears the shuffling of uncertain feet and random guttural grumbling. Dry logs knock against one another as the door to the central furnace creaks open. The logs are tossed in. Paper is crumpled. A match is struck. The paper crackles as it picks up the flame. The furnace door creaks shut. Wet footsteps grow louder as they pound towards the table, pausing. They pound even louder as they reach the threshold of the bedroom door, pausing again. The footsteps approach the bed as Aria continues trembling. The duvet is peeled off, leaving only a thin white sheet between the two of them. A wet, bloodied, skeletally thin yet powerful hand stains the sheet as it gently yet forcefully grasps her face. The blood seeps through the thin cloth and onto her skin. Beat. The hand slowly releases as the footsteps pound out of the bedroom and into the living area, heading directly for the front door as he yanks it open, the wind howling to greet him before he slams it shut. Aria throws the sheet aside. Back to scene. She starts hyperventilating as a panic attack sets in. She desperately stumbles around the room trying to find something to breathe into, knocking over a lamp in the process. She continues searching. Interior, living area, Aria's shelter, continuous. The cupboards in the living area, finding only plates and cups before coming across a jar. She pops open the lid and starts breathing into it, her exertions clouding the glass as she inhales them deep within her lungs. Her breathing stabilizes as she sinks to the floor. After recovering, she crawls towards the fireplace and huddles next to it, shaking as she tries to absorb every ounce of heat. She falls asleep with the bloody handprint stamped across her face. The fire crackles as exterior, roof, Aria's shelter, night. Heavy rain falls onto the shingles and wind whips across it. Interior, living area, Aria's shelter, night. The house creaks and groans as one last pop from the dying furnace pulls Aria shivering and exhausted from her slumber. She struggles yet again to find warmth. She pushes herself to her hands and knees with what little strength remains, drags herself to the pile of firewood. She's weak, and what should take a handful of seconds feels like an eternity. She uses the pile of firewood for support as she pulls herself to her feet. Arya grabs 2 logs and returns to the furnace. She drops to her knees and opens the creaking door. She tosses the logs into the furnace, crunches a handful of paper and throws it in. She grabs the box of matches, pulls one out, strikes it, and feeds the furnace. She tries to blow into the fire, but her lungs have no power. Surrendering, she simply closes it up. She huddles in front of it, as though praying before the life-giver. The back door opens as the howling wind blasts through the shelter yet again. One shot. Terrified, Arya crawls to the table as quickly as possible, her eyes wide-eyed and frantic. The wet, heavy footsteps pound around the bedroom and into the living area. She scuttles behind the far side of the table, desperately trying to hide from her kidnapper. ZAKARIA, male, mid-70s, long gray hair and beard, left-handed, half Asian, wraith-thin yet quick and brutal when necessary, clothed and hooded in his green raincoat, pants, and boots, stomps towards the sink with a handful of hooked fish. Arya watches as he freezes, noticing another pile of fish. He shakes off his confusion and adds the catch to the pile. Arya desperately scrambles to interior, bathroom, Arya's shelter, continuous. The bathroom, trying to avoid every creak or pop as the rustling from the living area stops. She freezes, noticing that she's drawn his attention. He approaches the bathroom as she quickly scuttles up and into the bathtub just as he reaches the threshold. She lies breathless, with his wraith-like silhouette standing motionless in the doorway as the wind rocks the shelter. ZAKARIA slowly approaches the tub, his hood and wet hair concealing his entire face. He stands above her, watching as she covers her face in a frantic attempt to conceal whatever she can of herself. His voice, raspy and coarse, pours from his hooded aspect.
Hungry?
She ignores him, hoping against hope that if she closes her eyes, she won't find him. He offers his hand.
Come.
She slowly turns to meet his gaze, but the darkness is impenetrable. She does as she's told and takes his hand. He helps her out of the tub, and like carrying a sack of flour, supports her to